Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to speak about fatherhood and all it has meant to me. I'm proud and honored to be asked to be part of your first annual celebration of fatherhood. I'm a proud father, proud grandfather, and a proud son. All those important relationships stay with us no matter how old we are. I realized the truth of this again when I heard I would be honored to receive the Order of Canada. When I heard the news, I thought about my children and hoped they would be proud. I also thought about my own father and mother as I wondered how these simple people who had come from Belarus and Poland would have reacted to hearing news that their son would be honored with an award from the Queen's representative in Canada. I'm sure that they would find it unbelievable, but would feel that pride that we do as parents to know that our children have made an impact on the lives of others. We never stop wanting to make our parents proud, and I felt good knowing that I had honored my parents in this way for all the hard work they did in raising us. Speaking of pride, you probably know the story about how the first thing Wayne did after scoring his 50th goal in 38 games. It was to call me to proudly tell me the news. And I remember I was so shocked when he phoned. I remember saying, "What took you so long?" And then he said, "I gotta get going, Dad." I told him I had to make a very important phone call. And the press are all waiting for me. Bye, Dad. All joking aside, while my children have certainly made me very proud, it is not magic or luck that brings success to our kids, but giving of ourselves as parents. I do spend a great deal of time with my children, trying to build in them the desire to succeed at whatever it was they wanted to do, and I know you want to also. This is our greatest desire as parents, and no one, absolutely no one, should stop us from being able to fulfill that desire. I have spoken on behalf of many organizations that focus on children's success, and there's one simple truth I know. Children need to be treated properly. They need our time and attention to begin with, and it isn't much more complicated than that. When a relationship that ties a mother and father to each other breaks, this should not break the relationship between parent and child. Mothers, fathers, grandfathers, and grandmothers and children have a fundamental and God-given right to remain in each other's lives and spend time together, because that's how we build and grow those bonds that keep us so strongly connected to each other. Time together is how we build that trust and those feelings of security that are so important to children, very important. It was thanks to the strong and steady support of my family that I managed to recover so well from the stroke I suffered in 1991. I wasn't supposed to live the night. With my loving family around me and with their care and concern for my well-being, I was able to rebuild and continue to do the things I love to do. Spend time with my children and grandchildren, and assist those organizations who do work I consider very important. That close call taught me that every second of every day is precious, and we need to make the most of those moments while we have them. I think you can imagine how good it felt to hear Wayne say in an interview with the CBC, "Everything I am is because of my dad." He said that the lessons he learned from me weren't just about hockey, but about the basics of life. This is one of our greatest gifts to our children, passing on what we've learned. Sometimes this knowledge helps propel them to great heights. Other times it just means sparing them some bumps and bruises. But as fathers, we always feel the urge to give them the best so the next generation will be even better. But I do have a story to tell you. When Wayne was in Edmonton, playing for the Edmonton Oilers, he phoned one night and said, "Dad, Friday night I'm breaking Gordie Howe's record. You gotta be here." Wayne's very family orientated. "You have to be here." I phoned my foreman and he said, "Yeah, go ahead, I'll cover for you." I phoned Wayne back and they said, "Pick me up after your practice in the morning." All NHL teams practice at 10 or 11 in the morning, have their lunch, and then they rest in the afternoon, play at night. That's the routine. So I told Wayne I'd catch the 8 o'clock flight out of Toronto. And we're just taking off. And I'm sitting in what's known as the first class section, pulled out a magazine, Sports Illustrated. Wayne's on the front cover. And whenever I speak at high schools, I always tell this story. In other words, be respectful to strangers. You never know who you're talking to. Pulled out a magazine, Sports Illustrated. Wayne's on the front cover. Next goal, he's going to break Gordie Howe's big record, 801 goals, I believe it was. Lady sitting right beside me, she says, "I see you read about Wayne Gretskey, eh?" I said, "Yeah." She says, "You know, I don't know how the devil he ever made it in the NHL. He's lucky he's got all those good players on his team. All he ever does is stand in front of that darn net, scores all the goals, gets all the money and glory. Everybody else does all the work. Too late to tell her who I am." I turn the pages real fast. First 4 pages were on Wayne, my picture's in there. I closed the book up, put it back in the pouch. I said, "So you're going to Edmonton, are you?" "Well, we're all going to Edmonton." She said, "Yeah, our daughter got married 3 months ago. Haven't been out since the wedding. Going to go see how they're doing." "Who are you going to see?" And I truly recall going, "We got a son out there. I'm going to see him." And I changed the subject. She's back on the Wayne again. Changed the subject. Finally, we got leveled off. And as you know, early in the morning, they give you breakfast right away. Stewardess is coming down the aisle, and I forgot. I'm sitting in what is known as the first class section. She gets opposite me. She says to the lady next to the window, "Mrs. Jones, what do you decide?" I'm thinking, oh my goodness, she's going to call me by my name. I'll be Mrs. Smith when she gets to Mr. Gretskey. This is Mr. Gretskey. "Hey, Mr. Gretskey, you going out to Edmonton to see your son Wayne play tonight? I understand he's going to break Gordie's record. Here's Mrs. Smith." Well, our food came. She didn't touch her eggs, her bacon, her toast. She did drink her coffee. Served her darn well right. But you know what? I felt so bad for her, I couldn't even eat myself. I remember I took a triangular piece of white of an egg, a little strip of bacon, a little strip of toast, and drank my coffee. Worst flight ever. Not another word was spoken for 2.5 hours. My arms are folded like this. My eyes looking at her. Her arms are folded like this. Hers looking at me. Not a word was ever spoken. And whenever I speak, I always tell a story about that lady. And the lesson is, always be respectful to strangers and friends. Anyways, it is wonderful that as fathers, you want to be there for your children. And that you have come together to celebrate fatherhood. Who we are and what we might be, so much of this can be shaped by our relationship with our Father. And of course, you just heard me say what Wayne said about the relationship between himself and his father and myself. I'm sure that sometimes the journey can be hard. Nothing makes sense, but it's important that we keep our goals in mind. Like I used to tell Wayne, don't think about chasing a puck. Know where it's going to be and be there waiting for it. In other words, go to where the puck's going to be, not where it's been. You couldn't have chosen a better theme song than Never Give Up. I'll repeat that. Never give up. Not just for you, but for your children. They're what's important, the children. Like I said at the beginning, no matter how old we are, we always want to earn the respect and admiration of our parents. So if you're ever thinking of giving up, thinking of stopping, just keep picturing that day down the road when you'll get that call that says, "I need your encouragement, respect, and admiration." Then you can look at that child and say, "That's why I never, ever, ever gave up." Thank you.